A return to normalcy kind of happened in October, although conditions are still pretty buyer-friendly. Let's take a look at your Toronto real estate market update. The core of Toronto had 1,023 sales. That's up 10% from September and up 3% compared to last October. That 10% number is a healthy bump from last month, which we should see heading from September into October. So that was a bit encouraging given how slowly the fall market kicked off this year. What's discouraging for sellers is the number of sales compared to what they're used to seeing in October of a given year. Typically, there would be anywhere from well over 1,300 sales on the low end to 1,800 or 1,900 sales on the high end. So Toronto's core is well behind what a typical October looks like. And thinking about how slow the market was this time last year amongst all the interest rate hikes, sales are only up 3% compared to October 2022. So that's pretty indicative of the market's pace right now. For new listings, there were 3,487 new properties hitting the market. This is down 13% from September and up 40% from October last year. This month-over-month trend is fairly in line with what we normally see. Sometimes listings rise from September, sometimes they go down. And despite a decline from the previous month, almost 3,500 new listings in Toronto's core is a fairly healthy amount, which is helping add to the amount of available inventory, which provides buyers with more choices and ultimately leads to properties sitting on the market a little longer than sellers are typically used to. If you remember my report from last month, September's ratio of 23% between sales and new listings was the lowest number seen in a very long time. And while October's number improved to 29%, it's still indicating a pretty balanced market. What this means for buyers is that they've got more time to consider properties once they've seen them, and they can even go to see them a second or maybe even a third time if they like. They're also probably in a position where they can insert terms into offers that provide them with some protection, like a financing or a home inspection condition. October sales numbers in Scarborough, Etobicoke, and North York were actually nearly identical to not only September, but also October of last year. Sales increased by 0.4% in both circumstances. Meanwhile, new listing numbers fell by 18% from September, at a steeper decline than the core. So we did see some improvement to the ratios that can help indicate whether things are in a buyer's or a seller's market, but so far the areas outside the core remain buyer-friendly. Lastly, active inventory remained fairly flat from September, but remains at pretty elevated levels, as you'd have to go back 3 years to the fall of 2020 to find a time when roughly 3,000 properties were available on the market. So a rough September was maybe indicating that the fall market was going to be really rough, but October turned things around a bit and we at least got back to fairly normal trends, albeit at much lower numbers across the board. That being said, it still remains a great time to be a buyer in today's market, provided that you can qualify for a purchase, which is the hard part. There have been many periods over the past 7 or 8 years where buyers would have begged for a time where they had choice, had time to view, time to consider the property, an opportunity to submit an offer without competition, and include terms that favored themselves and not the seller. Well, that time is now. And sellers need to remain patient and ensure that they're presenting their property in the best light possible in order to appeal to buyers and try and stand out among the competition. I'm Harnish, Toronto Real Estate Navigator with Bosley Real Estate. If you are catching this on YouTube, I would so appreciate if you would give this video a like, if you would subscribe to the channel, if you would hit the bell for notifications so that you don't miss any upcoming awesome content.